Hi again, everybody. We are off to the races. We are getting ready for the Kentucky Derby. Really, horse season, the Triple Crown, it begins the first Saturday of May. Now, there's a lot of races leading up to it to get the horses that are in the Derby field set and ready to go. But we are here. We have arrived at the Kentucky Derby, and that means we are going to check in with the one and only Mark Patterson from Mountaineer Racetrack, the Mountaineer analyst, race analyst, everything, the leader of Mountaineer Nation that loves the racing. Can't thank you enough for being here again. And can you believe it's Kentucky Derby time already?
Oh, Billy, it's awesome. You know what? I was reading a very apt characterization, the requirements for Kentucky Derby horse, and it was almost poetic. I think it said heart the size of an elephant's ticker.
Okay.
Lungs that can blow air like a tornado.
All right.
And legs like coiled springs. If you think about it, those creatures are so amazing. I've been watching them for 40 years plus, Billy, and they just never stop astonishing me. You think about it, do the math for a second. They're carrying more than 10% of their body weight, full speed, for a mile or farther. Think about you or me toting 25, 30 pounds and running flat out for 8 furlongs for a mile without stumbling, barely tiring. We couldn't do it, man. I would end up face down in the dirt. So they're really nature's magnificent machines, Billy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Indeed, they are. They're beautiful to look at, just standing in a field. They're gorgeous animals. And then when you put the saddles on them and you put the silks on the jockeys and you put the big hats and the dresses and all of the things that go with the Kentucky Derby, it is a spectacle. But when it gets right down to it, it's all about the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. And so we are looking forward to it. Now, Mark, I have to admit, I'm a little nervous for the horse journalism. It is the favorite right now at 3-1. Journalists, I was reading in one of the articles I read, and I can't remember who wrote the article. I apologize.
Yeah.
But there's no way that horse can win because the headline would be "Journalism wins." That doesn't happen. No one's going to go for that headline. What kind of headline is that? You can't do that. But, I'll tell you what, as a quote unquote journalist, might have to put a ducat or two down on journalism just because, you get one of those names where you go, all right, that's a lot odd. We might have to do it. Before we get started on the Derby, well, I need a little preview from you on what's going on as Mountaineer approaches getting rolling in 2025 and how things are going at Mountaineer Racetrack, Game and Resort, the casino, and where everything is with Mountaineer Nation. I do have to thank you publicly, and people have seen me out places wearing my hooded sweatshirt that you sent me.
That's what I want to hear, man. That is what I want to hear.
It's Mountaineer Nation, and it has a horse, running, and people, where'd you get that from? I said, my man, you got to go to Mountaineer. You got to go see Mark. We'll get a whole movement going. And they're like, that's really cool. And I'm like, I wear it out all the time. It's been fantastic. Mark, did you hit a button? There you go. So anyway,
accidentally, my man.
So what are we thinking about Mountaineer Nation and the celebration that we'll be racing in 2025?
Yeah, you know what? Enthusiasm runs high, Billy. We're like a rite of spring, nationwide, worldwide. And I can tell when it's almost time for us to recommence because I start getting the texts by the dozens and dozens and dozens from all over the country, all over the world, in fact. And, man, they are jonesing for their Mountaineer. They just are, because there's nothing really like our legendary facility. And you know what? The Kentucky Derby has supplied us with a jolt as well, because we've been handling fat at the windows. We did like 1.3 million first couple of nights and 1 million or more on each subsequent occasion, really early in the season. And I think Derby fever has taken hold even a little more intensely than it sometimes does, because our live crowds, and everybody knows that now, people bet from home. They sit in front of a computer screen in their boxer shorts. They go to simulcast centers. They go to casinos. That's how they bet on horse races. But Mountaineer has kind of put on-track attendance back in vogue, because the Ohio Valley, Billy, you know how bucolic it is, how beautiful it is. nestled in the foothills of this and Appalachians. And you know how great it is to come over the on-track experience, to see the thoroughbreds up close, to get out on the deck, on the patio outside. And I have been amazed at the live crowds at Mountaineer. Of course, we got a big trainers race going on that may be prolonged through the entirety of our season, which is going to stretch until early December as usual. It's almost like a team, Billy, or a league that's got 3 former MVPs that are still in career form, top trainers that have all titled here before: Juan Pablo Silva, Jay Bernardini, and King Eddie Clouston. And these guys are super competitive. It's personal for each of them. They want the hardware. They're all out already. And to win the training title at Mountaineer, you have to keep a constant influx of fresh horses coming in.
Yep.
And that boosts our races, and it can only benefit the fans. So I'm really pumped about it, Billy, our upcoming season at Mountaineer. Of course, we'll get a jolt when grass racing starts. You know what a great spectacle it is.
Oh,
Memorial
absolutely.
Day. Yeah, and then the Derby itself, too, which is a Sunday post time, 5 o'clock, kind of a twilight post time, 5 o'clock, first Sunday in August, sir.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I remember pictures that I saw from that race last year, and it was kind of that twilight, some beautiful colors in the photographs with the horses and it's just
great.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So are you in mid-season form? Are you ready to go? I know you're always ready to go, but are you in mid-season form to talk about the Derby? I think you are.
Yeah, Billy, I'm not one of these guys that combs and combs over every little bit of print for every single one of the Derby entrants like 4 or 5 months out, because it's just a horse race at the end of the day. And I would also caution. Time
out. Did you say just a horse race?
Well, from a gambling standpoint, it is, Billy. Money's money,
true.
my man.
It's
a grand spectacle. It's a grand spectacle. But as far as when you're going to bet your hard-earned dollar on the Derby, I would definitely caution your viewers, Billy, that journalism probably does have the highest ceiling in the race. And people already romanticize about the prospect of a Triple Crown winner, a rarity in sports. Everybody wants it. Everybody craves it right from the minute the horses enter the starting gate in the Kentucky Derby. But when you get a 20-horse field, my man, that is a veritable cavalry charge. Think about an NFL Super Bowl with all 20 playoff teams on the field at once, only one football, and it's all decided in 1 2-minute drill, Billy. This is chaos, my man. It is absolute and utter chaos. And a lot of it will come down to racing luck. A lot of it will come down to trips and running style. And you got to keep in mind, you don't want to accept a short price on anybody with so much chaos in play. And journalism, I would agree. Journalism is the likeliest winner on several fronts. But I'd be careful about accepting a short price on any horse in a 20-horse field, Billy.
It seems like in recent years too, the favorite has not gotten the job done at the Derby, and a lot of it is who gets the best ride, and just the getting out of the gates. If you get a bad start and then you're pinched in and you can't get out of where you're stuck, you're in trouble. So the first 10 seconds of the race could be the difference for somebody.
As much, Billy, as the Derby is romanticized, the cold hard truth is, and the insiders know this, the best horse rarely wins the Kentucky Derby. In fact, out of 175 Derbies, it's just the greatest tradition, man. Going back to my old Kentucky home, But I think only 60 Kentucky Derby winners have gone on to even win the Eclipse Award. That's the MVP for the 3-year-old division in thoroughbred horse racing. So it is amazing how infrequently the best horse even wins the Derby. Think back on a Mystic Dan. Think back on a Mage. They didn't become household names. You think back on a Rich Strike also. Because, again, it's that one shining moment, Billy, when the right horse steps up at the right time to earn immortality. But it rarely takes a great horse to do it. It's almost like a catch-22 when it comes down to trips in the Kentucky Derby. Because you got a lot of keyed up, very talented horses, and the crowd gets them all pumped. They take off in a mad dash. They don't want to get in traffic early. So the pace is often too hot for anybody up top to survive it. But the flip side of that coin, Billy, the nasty catch-22 is the horses that could benefit from that stiff pace. The ones that like to lay back and make a timed run late risk traffic trouble, risk running into traffic. So it's a nasty catch-22. There's a very fine line of tactical speed, of a smart ride. You know, it's not easy to win the Kentucky Derby, and it's not often even the best horse that does it.
Well, let me ask you this, because this jumped off the page at me when I was doing my research, and I consider myself in your presence just a newbie, just learning just getting started on, you know, figuring out horses, races, all that stuff. But one thing jumped off the page at me, Luxor Cafe. I think I'm saying that name correctly. 15-1 shot. He's got some good genes with American Pharoah as his daddy. So the one thing I'm thinking there is, could it be, and that odds right there, that's a good return on your dollar. And you know, American Pharoah managed to win the Triple Crown, so maybe there's some genetics at work where he gets on the crowd and the Kentucky crowd gets him all ramped up, but he's able to control it because, hey, my daddy's been here and done this. I can win for my daddy.
That's a Japanese horse, Billy. They have the biggest purses in the world and some of the best bloodstock, but they haven't yet dialed it in. How to get a 3-year-old up to a winning performance at 10 furlongs with the American emphasis on early speed. They haven't done that yet. Luxor Cafe, though, is not a speed horse. He likes to lay back, so the stiff pace up front that is certain in a Derby that includes at least 7 or 8 inveterate front-running styles. He's got the right style, Luxor Cafe. Something that intrigues me, he's been the favorite in each of his 6 lifetime starts, so he's highly regarded in his homeland. But, Billy, it would be a huge story for a Japanese horse for the first time to win the Kentucky Derby.
How difficult is it? Is it just simply the travel? You're in a new, I mean, the horse obviously knows you're traveling. I mean, you know, these are animals that, what am I on this tube for flying in the sky? But they get over it. Is it just, it takes longer for them to adjust? You know, what do you think it is that has kept, or maybe they just don't have, the horses just haven't been good enough yet?
It's a variety of factors, sir. For one thing, their trainers are normally not indoctrinated to American methods of training or what it requires to win a race stateside. I'm sure our medication standards are different than the meds they employ in foreign countries. And also, it's a culture shock for the horses to come over. They're going to be quarantined for a while. You touched on American Pharoah. I thought that was really interesting, Billy. American Pharoah, a Triple Crown winner. But I would hasten to say he has never recreated himself at stud. In fact, his stock has plummeted at stud. He is not the sire that he was as a racehorse. He is not nearly as highly regarded. If you look at it the standpoint of pedigree, Billy, I'm going to throw a long shot out there, a potential long shot at your viewers, a horse that I'm going to say might be worth a couple of bucks. And he's not going to be a huge price, but he's not going to be the favorite either. Sovereignty, the 18 horse. He is by a stud named Into Mischief, who was the preeminent sire of our generation. He gave no clue of that kind of potential in the breeding shed as a racehorse. Nonetheless, his offspring, Billy, have made almost $200 million. And Into Mischief, I think, has had more Kentucky Derby starters, 15 or 16, over the last 5 or 6 years than any other stud. So
apparently,
that's a great pedigree.
Into Mischief.
Into Mischief, that's the name. That's the buzzword.
Yeah.
Fans of breeding.
That is
Serenity too.
The only, what do you think about him starting in the 18 post?
Well, he's got the kind of style that's not going to dash to the first turn and be potentially hooked wide out there and lose ground. He can take back and tuck over. He's going to need racing luck because he's not on a horse with a whole lot of early speed, but I think it's going to go hot up top. It's going to set up for him. And I think he's definitely on the improve. He's got a snappy finish. He's the only horse in the race to have ever triumphed at Churchill Downs under the Twin Spires. And with the age-old horse for course angle in play, even in a race as prominent as the Derby, I think that could be significant. And also, he broke his maiden. And for your neophyte viewers out there, maiden means a horse that's never won. His first ever victory was in a graded stakes. That is highly unusual, Billy. That takes a lot of class. I like the way the horses come along. And he might be worth a couple of bucks at a big price.
Okay, well, let's go down a few of the other ones that are Sandman, makes me think of Metallica. You know what? This would be interesting. You have my old Kentucky home that they like to play. But if you played Enter Sandman by Metallica when the horse came on the track, people would go bananas. They would go nuts if they did that. Could you? I mean, maybe I'm going off the rails with that. But Sandman 6-1, and then now I saw a picture of him. He's got a gray coat, kind of a different look to him. It's a good looking horse.
Yeah, he's a Grade 1 winner, Billy. So he has got the requisite class, and he seems to be peaking at the right time because he scored last start, and he did so with a home stretch flourish, which is what you're looking for. You're looking for a horse that can finish, because a mile and a quarter at an intense pace is very demanding from a standpoint of stamina for these 3-year-olds. Plus, his trainer is not a household name. Most of the folks that tune in to watch the Derby, the one time a year, fair weather fans will have never heard of Mark Cassie, but he is a Hall of Fame trainer, and he's really capable, Billy.
All right, Rodriguez wins the Wood Memorial, and a certain somebody that is a household name in terms of trainers, Bob Baffert, is back in the saddle, so to speak. And I think he's going for 7 or 8 this year for the Derby.
Yeah, I think he's won. Has he won 7 of them?
He's either going for 7 or 8.
6 or 7. Yeah,
enough where he's got.
I lose track, man. It's so many.
Yeah, I mean he's got now from what I read. Mike Smith is his jockey. He knows to win knows how to win there. A bit more of a speed horse. Is that going to play into his favor? Is that going to hurt him if he gets up towards the lead?
Well, you're going to see a lot of publicity surrounding the return of Bob Baffert, potentially triumphant return to Churchill Downs, because he is kind of racing's villain bad guy because of all the drug offenses. But I can tell you from dealing with him behind the scenes, recruiting for a West Virginia Derby, he's a sweet guy to deal with on a personal basis. But Citizen Bull was the champion 2-year-old last year. And that kind of precocity is actually counterproductive when it comes to the KY Derby, because out of the 175 runnings of the Derby, I think maybe only 60 2-year-old champs or so have gone on to win the Kentucky Derby. They bloom too early. They trend too much towards early speed. And it's usually horses that mature a little bit later, have a little bit more stamina. Plus, Citizen Bull, who was the 2-year-old champ, has a front-running style, which I think is going to work against him, because you're going to have company up top. Ideally, for your viewers, with a front-running style, you want to get relaxed. Nobody in the horse's field of vision, so he gets brave, he gets bold. Citizen Bull's going to have all kinds of competition, and he took a big backward step last time, which is very bad for a Kentucky Derby contender.
And he's 20 to 1 odds there, and Baffert says throw that out, throw the bad performance out. But
he knows how to win the Derby, Bob Baffert.
Yeah, and apparently he's going from the one hole. Last winter that did that, 1986 Ferdinand. So
there's so much traffic, Billy, that's going to crowd down towards the inside. He's got to leave there running and let nobody ever cut him off or cross over on him, and that puts a lot of pressure on horse and rider.
Well, I tell you, I mind that bird, that ride back in the day, back in 2009, was just in and out of traffic, got over on the rail, and then just took it home. But and that brings up where the gelding, Burnham Square at 12 to 1. Last winter, mind that bird of 2009, and Funny Side 2003.
That's a great bag, Billy.
Well, I'm trying.
You're on it, man. You were on it.
I'm trying to keep up with you. I'm trying to get
on it, man.
Yep. So now, the gelding. Is there an option? Only 2 of 1. Is there a chance that there could be a third one, a 12 to 1 pick, Burnham Square? And it appears to be, from everything that I'm seeing, a closer. But that means he's going to have to deal with traffic if he's not up front.
A horse with this kind of pedigree, they gelled them with great reluctance. This horse must have been really hard to handle around the barn. And also, I don't think they were that high on him initially, because he was in for a claiming price in his career debut. I think Charismatic, maybe a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, was the last horse to go for a claiming price ever and win the Kentucky Derby. But he's also got a late moving style. He's indoctrinated to Kentucky because he took the bluegrass, which is not a major Derby prep. But if you're looking for a long shot with the right style, then maybe you're looking at Burnham Square. But he would have to establish a couple of firsts, the claiming thing, and also, in a sense, the gelding thing.
All right. And then one of the ones I looked at, I asked Jeff Exline, our meteorologist extraordinaire, the chief meteorologist, about the weather. And he said there could be some rain in the forecast. Temperature should be good, but there's a 40% chance of some rain. So I said, well, we have to find a mutter. So I doing my crack research. I'm trying to impress you as best I can. Coal Battle has run twice in the rain and won both races. Now, I don't know what those races are. They could have been around the backyard of the house where they keep them, or, but that's kind of one of those ones. Do you throw, $10 on, Coal Battle? I think, what is he, 20-1, maybe 20, maybe 20-1. But if it's raining, you throw something on them.
Well, Billy, first off, I'm not saying I won't take a horse tip from Jeff Exline, but I'd rather have hair tips, man. I would rather have hair tips from Jeff Exline, my good man. You're welcome to pass that along too. Anyway, Coal Battle. I don't think he's horse enough, Billy. I would demand 50-1. But it's all about value. If you're getting 50 or 80-1, $2, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, and I like this. I like this horse just because of the name and has some pedigree to it. Belmont winner 2020, Tis the Law, sired Tis-tastic, listed now as 20-1, won the Louisiana Derby. So what do you think of that horse? Is that a horse that's it's kind of okay? It's got a nice name, got some good pedigree, but not enough in the horse to worry about putting anything on it for the Derby?
Well, if Tis-tastic gets confused and thinks it's the West Virginia Derby instead of the Kentucky Derby, then he may well win it because Steve Asmussen is the Bob Baffert of our Derby, baby.
Yeah.
He's taken it like 6 freaking times.
I saw that name and I thought about that. I'm like, this guy's won the West Virginia Derby. If you win the Kentucky, do the double.
And you get another long shot with the right running style, with the right kind of stamina that's peaking at the right time. So I would not say it is not possible, sir.
I think that would be the double of the year in 2025. Win the Kentucky Derby and the West Virginia Derby same year. Just saying.
We actually thought about a bonus one time to tie the two together to try to entice a Kentucky Derby winner to come to Mountaineer. We actually were able to recruit one, Minette Bird. And this was our recruiting coup for the West Virginia Derby a few years back. He actually came and ran a mile. You remember that?
Yeah, I came down. I was working at PXI in Pittsburgh and came down. We did a story. I interviewed you, and we talked. We went over, and I just remember thinking to myself, that is not a very big horse. That won the Kentucky Derby, and I think of a Kentucky Derby horse. I think of Secretariat from when I'm a kid. That's just big horse, big personality, the whole thing. That Bird came. I went, that's the Kentucky Derby winner.
Billy. I played a small role in procuring Minette Bird for our Derby recruiting behind the scenes. So I'm thinking this may never happen again. Another Kentucky Derby winner to run at Mountaineer. So I'm waxing all romantic in my mind. So got permission from Chip Woolley, the horse's rather eccentric trainer, was busy betting the slots. Can I go back and take a look at the big horse? So I take a party of fellow racing officials to the backstretch to see Minette Bird. And I'm thinking there's some psychic connection between me and the horse. I got to touch him. I got to lay hands on him. I walk over. He's a mean little gelding who gives me the side eye and pins his ears. I know what's going to happen. I reach out to take him by the bridle. He takes a big chunk out of my arm, Billy. Sometime I'll show you the scar. So Minette Bird left an indelible mark on the history of Mountaineer racing and left an indelible mark on me, man, on my body.
I remember going back to the barn and he was chewing on his stable door and I went, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm just going to stay over here. And
he was an ill-tempered beast, Billy.
Yeah, but he got through that traffic and managed to get a win. All right, as we get ready to wrap this up, Mark, what are you thinking? If you're looking for a little trifecta, you're looking for a little combo situation. Where are you going with where's the smart money going to go? What do you think?
I think it's a spread race, Billy, and that's kind of an insider term for you want to use more than one horse, maybe tie up in some exactas, maybe some trifectas, maybe some superfectas, and you want to go maybe 3 or 4 deep, I would say, and you want to look at the horses that are coming to hand now, that are on the improve, and have, again, and I think this is going to be key, stamina. and a relaxed running style to not get involved in what's going to be a frantic pace up top. So my contenders are Luxor Cafe, who you mentioned, but I give them only a small look-see. I also would include Burnham Square, but just minimal coverage with him. I think Journalism is indeed the likeliest winner. He's run the biggest speed figures. He's come to hand the best. His trainer, by the way, is from Youngstown, Ohio, Billy. Just a shout out to Mike McCarthy from Youngstown, Ohio. He's the likeliest winner. So you definitely got to include him, and you got to feature him on your tickets. But my top selection, who I think is going to be the best price compared to his chances, is Sovereignty. Did I say that right, Billy?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Yeah, I like a lot of things about Sovereignty. So officially, I will designate him as my top selection. But I would take a widespread on late running horses. I would definitely put some price on my tickets because there are going to be a couple of bombs on what's called the vertical here, Billy, the exacta, the trifecta, the superfecta.
Okay. All right. So basically,
who do you like? Who's your pick?
Well, I want to pick Journalism. I think if someone said you can pick one horse, I'd go on Journalism. One, it's the best horse in the field, according to it, but two, just because of the name. It's like, sometimes, but I really am intrigued by Luxor Cafe because of the dad involved in the situation, American Pharaoh. I just think, I think it would be a tremendous story if they come over and win with a horse that is racing in Japan. But it's the son of American Pharaoh, the Triple Crown winner. I mean, you want to talk about, you think the Preakness is big anyways. Could you imagine if Luxor Cafe wins the Derby, goes to the Preakness, somehow wins there, and you go into Belmont? That would be completely incredible. That would be amazing.
Please don't mistake me, my man. I worship the Kentucky Derby. There was a time when I lived for that event, the KY Derby. I hope I did not disappoint you and your viewers when I sort of demystified the whole thing.
No.
It's maybe more mystique than meat. More mystique than meat, the Kentucky Derby, Billy.
Yeah, I get that. And the thing is, like you said, if you're going to put money down, a race is a race. If you can hit a 50-1 shot on a Tuesday night at Mountaineer or Thursday night at Mountaineer, it pays the same as it would if it's the Derby. So, when it comes down to that, no, I appreciate that. But now when I talk to my mom later this weekend, she's going to have a party with Aunt Connie. And my cousin Allison will be there. They'll have friends. They'll have the hats on. Won't drink the mint juleps. My mom's not a fan of the mint juleps. She goes, I try every year. I try them, and I just don't like them. So she loves the pageantry of it. And my mom's got a little bit of a gambling Jones, so she likes to.
My mom did too.
Yeah, so she enjoys the races. And the one time I took her to Mountaineer when they first did table gaming.
Give her my best, Billy. Give her my best.
I will. We went in and she said, well, let me play this slot real quick. That took us, driving up from Steubenville takes about 25 minutes or so, whatever the coin space. She puts the slot, boom, hits for like $50 or $60, whatever.
Oh yeah.
She goes, hey, I wanted to try the blackjack. So we go over to the blackjack table. She goes, do you want to get it? I said, no, Mom. I said, I'm good. Just bringing you up here so you can see it and have some fun when it first started the table games. So she's standing there. She reaches into her pocket, gets her little plastic coated little cheat sheet for how you should bet for the blackjack table.
Oh yeah,
this, the whole thing. And I said, Mom, are you even allowed to use that? Because I
wonder about that. What is she, a card counter, Billy?
Yeah. I
they
guess.
frown at that kind of thing at casinos,
exactly. So if someone shows up at my mom's door now, she's going to be, where did you come from? I didn't realize the statute of limitations. But so she has it. She goes, okay, plays a couple hands. Next thing I know, she's a grand total of $210 up in 15 minutes. And I said, all right, Mom, you're doing good. She goes, well, we can go now. She goes, unless you want to play. And I said, no, I'm good. I said, we've only been here 15 minutes. It took longer to drive up, and then we're going to drive back. So we spent more time in the car both ways than we did. She wouldn't even close to match it. But I was like, okay, but she loves, so she'll have a fun time with
sweet. I was such a mama's boy when my mother.
She's the best.
So hey, Mr. Phillips, good sir, is the foremost general sports authority that I know. Okay. I got to ask you, man. I cashed in the last couple of years and cackled because I made sentimental bets. I took the over on the Buccos, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
I took 76.5 this year. I'm dead, right? I am reduced, like other sane Buck fans, to when does Skeens pitch again? That's the only thing I'm going to get out of this season, correct?
Yeah. The big problem is they don't score any runs. They don't score any runs.
That is a problem, sir.
Yeah, they need a few more arms. 76 wins. I would have been with you beginning of the season if I had put anything down. I would have gone over 76 wins. But
not looking so good now, Billy.
Yeah, this start is not helping. It's not helping. But the great thing is, and I love when the experts say this and then they're proven wrong. Especially you get a hockey team or you get a baseball team, and now with so many playoff openings in baseball. But I remember people that 20 games into an NHL season, Penguins aren't going to be able to come back from this. And they got Crosby on there. And I said, well, if there's 60 games left, what do you mean they can't come back? So the same thing with the Pirates. If they can somehow
talking, my man.
get on a roll, if they could go 5-game winning streak, well, you lose a couple, another 4-game winning streak. All of a sudden you're 9-2 over your last 11. And you piece these together. And then it's all about win the series. When I played at Miami, my coach, Coach Frazier, the Wizard of College Baseball, he said, fellas, all we want to do is take 2 out of 3. Take the series. Then at the end of the year, all of a sudden you look down and you go, what happened? Problem is they don't score a lot of runs. Skeens is the big dog, but there's not a lot of other dogs out there right now. So I'm going to say, keep your fingers crossed. Don't give up. A lot of season left, but we need to start getting some of those 5- and 4-game winning streaks around a couple of 2 losses, and then all of a sudden you're back in business. So I'm not going to rule it out.
You have buttressed my Bucko spirit, Billy, and I will not give up yet.
It's May 1st. We haven't gotten to Memorial Day. Now we'll check in on Memorial Day and see what's happening then. And if it's going the same way, that we might have to put the nail in the casket, but we'll see what happens. All right. Last, 30 seconds, a minute to you. Tell us about everything you have coming up at Mountaineer, and if anything's changed in terms of, all right, when can I go up to see races live? And I know people can see them simulcast, but I'm one of those guys, and I like you. I want to be there. I want to feel the horses coming down the home stretch.
Very soon, Billy, there's going to be a huge change, a game changer in the way thoroughbred races can be wagered on. Pari-mutuel is a French term that means we bet against each other, and the odds flip accordingly. The big problem with that is you don't know what you're buying into, Billy, because the technology does not exist. Just to get a little bit into the weeds on this, they have real-time odds flashed and posted simultaneously when you make your wager. So you get a lot of disgruntled fans because 80% of a thoroughbred win pool comes in from 2 minutes to post to when the field is actually dispatched. So since that money won't be cycled through the numbers, through the tote system sometimes until the field's halfway around the racetrack, you can make a bet on a horse at 5-1, and by the time he hits the wire in front, he's 2-1. This leads to a lot of disenchantment, a lot of suspicion, a lot of disgruntled fans. Guess what? Fixed odds wagering is going to come. It's going to be implemented sometime in July or August, which means kind of like a football bet, Billy. If you give 3 points, if you get 3 points, that's what it is, baby. They can't change that price on you somewhere down the road. And that's a really, really big deal. That's a huge deal. Fixed odds wagering. It's kind of like if you go to the grocery store and you buy a bunch of groceries, you get home and you enjoy the meal. You get a call from the store and they say, hey, you know what? Those groceries we decided actually cost you $200 instead of one single C note. Yeah. That's the equivalent of the fluctuations in the pari-mutuel pool right now, but no more, because now it's not going to be an on-track thing necessarily, but some of the betting platforms, Billy, are going to offer fixed odds to where you know what you're buying into, you know what you're getting for your money, and it stays there. It cannot fluctuate. And that's a monumental advancement in thoroughbred betting, Bill.
People will be able to see that this weekend when they watch the Derby in terms of an example, because you'll see, well, right now the odds are journalism is 3-1. Some late monies come in on a different horse, so journalism is now 4-1, or whatever the case may be to move the odds. Wait a minute, I didn't want to bet it at that. I wanted to bet it at this. So you'll be able to see it. So that'll be interesting. Now, Mountaineer, same schedule as last year in terms of when the races will be. What are the days and times when it starts?
We go Sunday night through Wednesday night. I call it Mountain Standard starting time, 7 o'clock, Billy.
Yeah. Okay.
Until late June, when we pick up Wednesdays, we go back to our 4 nights per week schedule.
Okay.
Please don't let your fans forget that we start grass racing, which is ever popular and gives us this huge competitive advantage over any other thoroughbred facility within like a 5-hour drive, that radius, because we're the only grass racing in town, baby. And in town, I mean in like a 3-state area. So we get classier horses. We get more horses. Turf racing is ever popular with players. Bigger fields, we churn more money. It's a great spectacle, and it's just a great thing, Bill. And they want to remember our reason for existence, our signature occasion. I think it is August 3rd, the West Virginia Derby, special 5 o'clock in the afternoon post. You know, so many players that watch the show, Billy, the simulcast show, have undertaken pilgrimages to the mountain. It's almost like a holy place to these people. It really, really is, Billy. They want to come. They want to experience it in person. And I want to take this opportunity to invite everybody in the greater Ohio Valley to come to Mountaineer and to experience it firsthand. Be sure, if you do, stop in the studio where I do the show live. Just walk right in. I will present you with a program, a free program. Hopefully a little advice that enables you to profit a buck or two on your bets. I will answer any questions you have about how to handicap, about how to bet the races. I love it. I dig it. I love to interact with horse players and fans. I got to be the only guy in the world that does what I do and actually puts his phone number out on the air, Billy, on the show. But it is almost like a holy place for all the players that undertake the pilgrimage here. So I would think that people in the greater Ohio Valley, the greater Pittsburgh area, the greater Wheeling area would be more than eager to come up and visit the mountain in person.
I know I'm ready to go. I'm going to show up in my Mountaineer Nation. We'll be ready to go. And I can't thank you enough, Mark, for joining us today. Hopefully we could do it again before the Preakness and again the Belmont. And as we get deep, as the Mountaineer season gets going, we'll be able to join you a few more times over the course of the year. But wishing you, as always, nothing but the best and huge crowds to come up, knock on your door and bother you for those programs as you get ready for the pilgrimage to the Holy Land that is Mountaineer Racetrack.
Long live Mountaineer Nation, baby. And I'm not talking about the West Virginia football team. Long live Mountaineer Nation, man.
Mark, thank you very much. And good luck this weekend with the Derby and all of the wagers that you spread all over the field, if you know what I'm saying.
Thank you, Billy.
Hopefully everybody hits big. Mark, thank you very much. Everybody, that is off to the races. Can't thank Mark enough. Can't thank everybody enough for watching. Hopefully you have a great time watching this week's Kentucky Derby. You can catch it at 2:30 in the afternoon. That's when coverage starts on WTOV9. Post time is set for 6:57. Mark, have a great weekend. We'll see you next time, brother. Everybody have a great weekend and be well. We'll talk to you soon.
You too, my man.
All right.